My beloved child, God says. Don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end because God has something He wants you to hear. There are moments in life when the smallest voice reveals the greatest truth, and today is one of those moments. You have been wondering why certain doors refuse to open, why conversations suddenly stopped, and why someone who cared deeply about you seemed to disappear without giving you the answers you deserved. I have seen every tear you tried to hide, every night you questioned whether the connection you felt was real, and every silent prayer you whispered when no one else was listening. What you could not see was that behind the scenes, a truth was waiting for the perfect moment to come into the light. Your soulmate believed they could protect everyone by keeping a secret locked inside their heart, but secrets never stay hidden forever when destiny decides it is time for healing. Today, something unexpected happened. It was not a grand announcement or a dramatic confrontation. It was a simple conversation inside a home where no one imagined history was about to change. Your soulmate's son innocently repeated something he had heard many times before. He did not realize those words carried the weight of years of silence. He spoke without fear, without hesitation, believing everyone already knew. The room instantly became quiet. Faces changed. Eyes met in confusion. Your soulmate froze because they understood immediately what those words truly meant. In that single moment, the truth they had spent so long hiding escaped through the most innocent voice in the room. My beloved child, nothing surprises me. I knew this day would come long before you ever wondered if your path would make sense again. Every delay has been preparing hearts for a moment they could no longer avoid. The secret was never hidden because you were unworthy of knowing it. It remained hidden because the people involved were still carrying fear, regret, and unfinished pain. But fear cannot overcome truth forever. The words spoken today unlocked memories your soulmate had buried beneath responsibilities, expectations, and the pressure of pleasing everyone except their own heart. As those memories returned, one face appeared again and again in their mind. That face was yours. They remembered the conversations that made them smile without trying. They remembered the comfort they found in your presence. They remembered promises that were never spoken aloud but were deeply felt. They also remembered the moment everything began to fall apart. For so long they convinced themselves that moving forward without you was the only option, yet their heart never accepted that decision. Every new beginning felt incomplete because a part of them remained connected to you. While others believed time had erased the bond, they quietly carried it everywhere they went. Even during moments when they laughed with others, there was an emptiness they could never explain. My beloved child, I have watched both hearts carry burdens they were never meant to carry forever. I have seen misunderstandings grow into walls, silence become Distance and fear become chains that kept two people from speaking honestly. Yet I also know that truth has a voice stronger than fear. Once it begins to speak, every wall starts to crack. That is exactly what is happening now. The innocent revelation did more than expose a hidden story. It forced your soulmate to face emotions they had been avoiding for far too long. They realized they could no longer pretend everything was fine. They understood that every excuse they had created was falling apart before their own eyes. The child did not intend to change anyone's future, but destiny often chooses unexpected messengers because innocence cannot be controlled by fear. Those words echoed through the house long after the conversation ended. Even when everyone returned to their daily routines, your soulmate could still hear them repeating in their mind. They sat alone later that evening, remembering details they thought they had forgotten forever. They remembered your kindness during moments when no one else understood them. They remembered how safe they felt whenever your paths crossed. Most of all, they remembered the feeling they tried hardest to deny, the feeling that their life changed the day they met you. My beloved child, there are seasons when silence feels endless, but silence is never the end of the story. I have been working where human eyes cannot see. Every delay has been shaping hearts, softening pride, and preparing truth to rise at the right time. Do not mistake quietness for absence. I have never left your side. Even when you believed your prayers disappeared into the darkness, I was arranging moments that would eventually reveal my purpose. What happened today is only the beginning. A door that remained locked for years has started to open, not because anyone forced it, but because truth itself found the key. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that the life they imagined without you has never brought the peace they hoped it would. They can no longer ignore the connection that keeps returning, no matter how hard they try to bury it. Every reminder leads back to you, and every unanswered question brings them closer to a decision they have been postponing for far too long. My beloved child, stay with this message until the end, because what begins today will continue to unfold in ways neither you nor your soulmate expected. This is only the first chapter of a story that has not yet reached its turning point. My beloved child, God says, don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end, because God has something He wants you to hear. After the house became quiet, your soulmate could no longer escape the thoughts that had followed them for so many years. The words spoken so innocently by the child continued to echo through every corner of their mind. They replayed the moment again and again, wishing they could stop time, wishing they could somehow take those words back. Yet knowing deep inside that what had been revealed could never be hidden again. They looked around the room as if someone else might have an explanation, but there was only silence. That silence became louder than any conversation they had ever heard, because it forced them to face the truth they had spent years avoiding. My beloved child, I have watched every step of this journey. I know the questions you have carried. I know how many times you wondered why someone who once seemed so close suddenly became so distant. You searched for answers in memories, in dreams, and even in moments when you convinced yourself to let go. Yet every attempt to move on left an empty place inside your heart that nothing else could fill. That emptiness was never meant to punish you. It was a reminder that some connections cannot simply disappear because people choose silence. What I have joined through purpose cannot be erased by fear alone. As your soulmate sat alone, they opened an old drawer they had not touched in a very long time. Inside were forgotten reminders of another season of life. Small objects, faded notes, and memories they once believed they had buried forever suddenly became impossible to ignore. Every single item reminded them of you. A smile they once tried to forget returned to their face for only a moment before tears replaced it. They realized that while they had convinced everyone else they had moved forward, their own heart had never truly accepted that story. The child's innocent revelation had broken the wall they spent years building around their emotions. They finally admitted to themselves that they were tired of pretending everything was fine. My beloved child, there are times when truth arrives gently instead of loudly. It does not always come through dramatic events. Sometimes it enters through the honesty of someone who has nothing to hide. That is why today's revelation carried such power. No one expected it. No one planned it. Yet it became the very thing that changed the direction of many hearts. Your soulmate began asking themselves questions they had refused to answer before. What if they had made the wrong decision? What if fear had stolen years that could have been filled with peace? What if the person they kept trying to forget was still the one I had placed in their path for a reason? Those questions refused to leave. The more they tried to silence them, the louder they became. Even as night fell, sleep would not come easily because every memory led back to the same place, you. My beloved child, while you were wondering whether I had forgotten your prayers, I was arranging moments that neither you nor your soulmate could control. Human plans often fail, but my timing never does. I know exactly when hearts are ready to hear what they once refused to accept. I know when pride begins to weaken, and when truth becomes stronger than fear. This is why you must not lose hope simply because the journey has taken longer than you expected. Delays are not proof that I have abandoned you. Sometimes they are proof that I am preparing something greater than you can currently imagine. Your soulmate is beginning to understand that the peace they have been searching for cannot be found by running away from the truth. The child unknowingly opened a door that can no longer be closed. Every conversation since that moment feels different. Every quiet moment forces reflection. Every ordinary day now carries an extraordinary reminder that something unfinished still exists. They may not fully understand what comes next, but they know one thing. With certainty, they cannot continue living as though the past never happened. My beloved child, remain patient, remain faithful, and guard your heart. The story is still unfolding, and what has begun with a simple revelation is leading toward a decision that has the power to change everything. This is only the next step, not the end. My beloved child, God says. Don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end because God has something He wants you to hear. The next morning felt different, even though everything around your soulmate looked exactly the same. They woke up hoping the emotions from the previous day would disappear, believing that a night's sleep would quiet their thoughts. But the moment they opened their eyes, the first thing that came into their mind was not work, not responsibilities, not the plans they had made. It was you. The child's words had awakened something that refused to go back to sleep. Every attempt to distract themselves only brought more memories flooding in. They remembered the first time your paths crossed, the comfort they felt when you spoke, the peace they experienced in your presence, and the strange feeling that their life had quietly changed from that very moment. For years they convinced themselves those feelings would eventually fade, but instead they had only been buried beneath layers of fear and silence. My beloved child, nothing hidden remains hidden forever when my purpose is involved. I see every heart exactly as it is. I know what people confess openly and what they hide even from themselves. Your soulmate spent years pretending they had accepted the past. But their heart never stopped searching for the peace they lost when they walked away from what they truly felt. Every success felt incomplete. Every celebration carried an unexplainable emptiness. They smiled for others while secretly wondering why joy never lasted. The answer had always been waiting beneath the surface, and now it has begun to rise where it can no longer be ignored. Throughout the day, little reminders appeared everywhere. A familiar song played unexpectedly. A place connected to an old memory came into view. Someone mentioned a name that instantly reminded them of you. These moments seemed ordinary to everyone else. But to your soulmate they felt like gentle reminders that the story was not over. The more they resisted these signs, the more frequently they appeared. Soon they stopped calling them coincidences because deep inside they sensed that something greater was drawing their attention back toward the truth. My beloved child, I often speak through moments people call coincidence. What appears random to human eyes is often carefully placed by my hand. I know exactly what each heart needs to see before it is ready to change. I do not force hearts, but I gently lead them until they can no longer deny what has always been true. That is what is happening now. The revelation spoken by the child was only the beginning. Now reflection has replaced denial. Questions have replaced excuses. And honesty is beginning to replace fear. Your soulmate found themselves standing before a mirror later that evening. They looked into their own eyes and asked a question they had avoided for years. What if I never stopped loving them? The words were barely whispered, but they carried more truth than every excuse they had created over the years. Tears filled their eyes because, for the first time, they stopped running from the answer. They finally admitted that no matter how much time had passed, your place inside their heart had never truly been replaced. My beloved child, I have heard the prayers you spoke when no one else knew you were hurting. I have collected every tear you believed was unnoticed. Even when silence surrounded you, I was still working beyond what your eyes could see. Trust my timing, because I do not restore things halfway. When I begin revealing truth, I continue until every hidden piece is brought into the light. What has started cannot simply return to the way it was before. Hearts have begun to awaken, and once awakening begins, the journey toward truth continues. Your soulmate is standing at the edge of a decision they can no longer postpone. They know they cannot keep pretending that nothing happened. They know the secret revealed by that innocent voice has changed everything inside them. Yet they also know that taking the next step will require courage they have not shown in a very long time. My beloved child, do not lose hope because the story is still unfolding. The revelation was only the spark. What follows next will test hearts, uncover even deeper truths, and bring both of you closer to the moment I have been preparing all along. This is not the end of the journey, it is only the beginning of what is yet to come. My beloved child, God says. Don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end because God has something He wants you to hear. As the days passed, your soulmate discovered that the secret revealed by that innocent voice had changed more than just their thoughts, it had changed the atmosphere around them. Conversations that once felt easy now carried an uncomfortable silence. Family members began noticing that something was different. They could see it in your soulmate's eyes, in the way they stared out of the window for long moments, in the way they answered questions with only a few words. No one fully understood what was happening inside their heart, but everyone could sense that a battle was taking place. They tried to continue life as though nothing had happened, yet every step reminded them of the truth they could no longer escape. Every road seemed to lead back to memories they had spent years trying to bury. Every quiet moment became another opportunity for your face to appear in their thoughts. My beloved child, I know how easy it is to believe that silence means nothing is changing, but many of the greatest transformations begin where no one else can see them. Hearts change in private before actions change in public. I have been working within your soulmate long before this revelation came into the open. What seemed like a sudden awakening was actually the result of many unseen moments I was arranging one by one. Even when they resisted my guidance, I continued placing reminders in their path, gently leading them toward the truth they had been avoiding. Now those reminders have become impossible to ignore. 1 evening, your soulmate found themselves listening as their son spoke again about simple things that children often notice without realizing their importance. Every innocent sentence became another mirror reflecting the life your soulmate truly wanted but had convinced themselves they could never have. They suddenly understood that children often see honesty more clearly than adults because they speak without masks, without fear, and without hidden motives. That realization touched their heart deeply. Instead of feeling anger over the secret being revealed, they began feeling gratitude. They realized that if those words had never been spoken, they might have continued pretending for many more years. My beloved child, truth is not your enemy. Truth is the beginning of freedom. The moment people stop hiding from what they genuinely feel is the moment healing begins. Your soulmate is discovering that every attempt to bury the past only created more pain. They now understand that peace cannot grow where honesty is absent. For the first time in a long while, they stopped asking how they could forget you and started asking whether they should finally face everything they had been running from. That single change of heart is opening a new path that did not exist before. Late that night, they found themselves holding their phone, scrolling through old contacts, stopping at your name, then quietly putting the phone down again. Fear still whispered that reaching out might change everything. Pride warned them not to reopen old wounds. Doubt reminded them of the time that had passed. But beneath all those voices, another feeling remained stronger than ever before, the feeling that they would always regret staying silent if they never tried. My beloved child, do not become discouraged by delays. Courage often grows slowly. I do not rush hearts before they are ready because lasting restoration requires truth, humility, and wisdom. The work I am doing inside your soulmate cannot be measured by what you see today. Every moment of reflection, every tear they hide, every memory they revisit is preparing them for a choice that only they can make. Continue trusting me even when you cannot yet see the outcome. I am guiding this story with perfect timing, and nothing revealed by my purpose is ever wasted. The secret that once remained hidden has already begun changing lives, and soon another unexpected moment will arrive, one that neither you nor your soulmate will see coming. When that moment comes, everything they have been feeling in silence will be tested, and the next chapter of this journey will begin. My beloved child, God says, don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end because God has something He wants you to hear. Just when your soulmate believed they had finally regained control of their emotions, another unexpected moment arrived. It happened so naturally that no one could have planned it. While the family was gathered together, an old photo album was brought out, filled with memories everyone had nearly forgotten. Laughter filled the room as page after page revealed moments from the past. Then suddenly, one photograph caused everything to stop. Your soulmate's eyes remained fixed on that single picture. Their breathing became slower, and their smile disappeared. Hidden within that photograph was a reminder of a season they had tried to leave behind. Although your image was not directly there, the memory connected to that day brought you back into their heart with overwhelming clarity. It was as if time itself had folded, allowing every forgotten emotion to return at once. My beloved child, I know how memories work. I know that some moments remain alive inside the heart long after the world believes they have ended. There are memories I allow to fade, and there are memories I preserve because they still carry purpose. The connection between you and your soulmate was never erased from their heart. It remained quietly waiting beneath the surface until the right moment arrived. Now, those memories are no longer whispers. They are becoming impossible to ignore. Your soulmate gently closed the album, but closing the book could not close the emotions that had awakened inside. Long after everyone else left the room, they remained sitting alone, staring into the distance. Questions filled their mind. What if they had listened to their heart instead of their fear? What if they had spoken honestly instead of remaining silent? What if the person they had been trying to forget was still thinking about them? Those questions brought both hope and regret. They realized that time had changed many things, but it had never removed the place you held inside their heart. My beloved child, regret can become a prison, but it can also become the beginning of wisdom. I do not reveal truth simply to reopen old pain. I reveal truth so healing can begin where pretending once existed. Your soulmate is slowly understanding that avoiding the past has never brought them peace. Every road they chose to escape their feelings eventually led them back to the same place. Now they are standing before a choice they cannot avoid forever. Continue hiding behind fear, or finally take a step toward honesty. Neither choice is easy, but only one leads toward freedom. As night fell once again, your soulmate looked at their phone. This time they did not immediately put it away. They searched through old conversations, reading words they had not looked at in years. Every sentence reminded them of kindness, understanding, laughter, and moments that felt genuine. Tears formed as they realized how much they had lost by allowing silence to become stronger than truth. Deep inside, they whispered a quiet prayer they had not spoken before. They asked for courage. They asked for another chance to make peace with the past. They asked for wisdom to know whether reaching out would bring healing or more heartbreak. My beloved child, I hear every sincere prayer, even though spoken with trembling voices. I know the desires people hide from everyone else. I know when hearts are finally ready to stop pretending. Trust that I am working in ways you cannot yet see. Every revelation has brought your soulmate one step closer to the truth. Every memory has softened the walls around their heart. Every quiet moment has prepared them for what comes next. Soon, a conversation they never expected will place them at another crossroads, and the decision made in that moment will carry consequences neither of you can yet imagine. Until then, remain patient, remain faithful, and remember that when I begin writing a new chapter, no human fear can stop my purpose from moving forward. My beloved child, God says, don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end. Because God has something He wants you to hear. The following day brought a moment your soulmate never expected. They believed the emotions of the past few days would slowly fade. But instead, they grew stronger. While going about an ordinary routine, they overheard another conversation that seemed completely unrelated to them. Yet every word felt as though it had been placed there for a reason. Someone spoke about missed opportunities, about the pain of waiting too long to say what truly mattered, and about how life can change before people find the courage to speak from the heart. Those simple words struck your soulmate deeply. They immediately remembered the secret their son had revealed and realized that silence had already stolen enough time. For the first time in years, they stopped asking themselves whether they should protect the past and started asking whether they should protect the future instead. My beloved child, I often use ordinary moments to reveal extraordinary truths. People wait for signs that shake the earth, but many times my voice comes through quiet reminders that touch the heart. I know exactly when a soul is ready to listen. I know when fear has become too heavy to carry and when truth begins to feel lighter than pretending. Your soulmate has reached that place. They can no longer convince themselves that ignoring their feelings will bring peace. Every attempt to move forward without facing the truth has only left them more restless. Now, they understand that the answer they have been searching for has never been found in running away, it has always been found in honesty. Later that evening, your soulmate sat alone once again. They held their phone in their hands, opened your contact, and stared at the screen for several long minutes. Their fingers moved as if they were about to type a message, then stopped. Fear whispered that too much time had passed. Doubt warned that you might never want to hear from them again. Regret reminded them of every opportunity they had allowed to slip away. But another voice inside their heart refused to remain silent. It reminded them of your kindness, your patience, and the connection they had never truly forgotten. They realized that if they remained silent forever, they would spend the rest of their life wondering what might have happened if they had simply found the courage to speak. My beloved child, courage is not the Absence of fear. Courage is choosing truth even while fear still exists. I have been strengthening your soulmate little by little, preparing them for a decision they once believed was impossible. Every revelation, every memory, every unexpected reminder has been shaping their heart for this very moment. Do not become discouraged if everything has not happened as quickly as you hoped. My timing is never late. Every step is unfolding exactly as it needs to. While you have been wondering whether anything was changing, I have been transforming hearts where no human eyes could see. Nothing I begin is left unfinished. The innocent words spoken by the child have now become the beginning of a much greater story. Those words awakened memories. The memories awakened honesty. Honesty is now awakening courage. And courage is leading your soulmate toward a choice that could change the direction of both your lives. They know they cannot continue living with unanswered questions forever. They know that every passing day without truth only makes the weight inside their heart heavier. Before they closed their eyes that night, they whispered something they had never admitted aloud. They said, "If there is still a chance, I don't want to lose it again. My beloved child, keep trusting me." The story has not reached its final chapter. Another unexpected event is already moving into place, one that will test every fear your soulmate still carries and reveal whether they are truly ready to walk through the door that has remained closed for so long. Stay with me, because what happens next will reveal that even the smallest act of courage can open the greatest miracle. My beloved child, God says, don't scroll. If this message found you today, it wasn't an accident. Stay until the end because God has something He wants you to hear. The moment finally arrived when your soulmate realized they could no longer hide from what had been growing inside their heart. The innocent words spoken by their son had become the turning point they never expected. Since that day, every memory, every quiet night, every unexpected reminder, and every unanswered question had been leading them toward one unavoidable truth. They had spent years trying to convince themselves that the past was over, but the more they tried to forget you, the more they understood that some connections cannot be erased simply by silence. Deep inside, they finally admitted what they had been too afraid to say. They had never truly stopped thinking about you. Every time they believed they had moved on, something always brought your memory back. Every new beginning felt incomplete because a part of their heart had remained where they left you. My beloved child, I know every hidden emotion that people keep locked away. I know the conversations that never happened, the apologies that were never spoken, and the love that remained buried beneath fear and pride. Nothing is hidden from me. I also know that healing begins when truth is finally accepted. Your soulmate has reached that moment. The walls around their heart have begun to fall, not because someone forced them down, but because they became too heavy to carry any longer. They finally understood that pretending to be happy had never brought them real peace. The greatest secret was never what their son revealed. The greatest secret was that they had been hiding their own heart from themselves. Once they accepted that truth, everything changed. Their fear slowly became courage. Their regret became a desire to make things right. Their silence became a reminder that they no longer wanted to waste another opportunity. They stood quietly, looked toward the door, and realized that sometimes the hardest door to open is the one inside your own heart. My beloved child, remember this always: do not let fear decide your future. Trust me with the path ahead. Not every story ends the way people imagine, but every step taken with honesty brings peace. Continue walking with faith, kindness, patience, and wisdom. I am guiding your life even when you cannot see what lies ahead. What is truly meant for you will never require you to live in fear forever. Let your heart remain open to my direction, and let my peace be stronger than your doubts. This story ends here, but your journey does not. Keep trusting my timing, keep moving forward with hope, and remember that I am with you through every season of your life. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss another message. Thank you for staying until the end. May God bless you with peace, wisdom, strength, and hope.